Well, if someone took the items back, that's on you. That's not on me. Girl, ain't this your business? What's up, y'all? It's your girl Roxy with Roxy Says, and we're going to talk about it. So today we are reviewing Real Housewives of Atlanta, Season 15, Episode 10. We are already at Episode 10, y'all. So I will say this episode was good. I enjoyed it. It was fast-paced. There was a lot going on. It kept me entertained, okay? Usually when I'm watching Real Housewives of Atlanta, a couple of times in a couple past episodes, I have caught myself looking at the time like, how much longer, how much more do we have to endure? Not this episode at all. I enjoyed it. I will say this, having to see them switch from the scenes to Sheree's confessional looks to the scenes to the old confessional looks to the new confessional looks, child, it was a lot. We do know, right, that after filming, sometimes they do call some of the ladies back to do a couple more confessionals of whatever is needed, right? In the more recent confessionals, Sheree is still swollen. So we don't know what she did. To me, it looks like she got some fillers and she touched the nose, right? But she looks puffy. She looks swollen. So she was probably like in recovery. This is all alleged. I don't know what the hell she did. She probably didn't do a damn thing. My eyes are just something wrong with my eyes. She probably didn't do a damn thing, right? But if she did, she does look a little bit swollen. So I know that when she got that call, like, hey girl, we need you to come in to do some confessionals, I know Sheree was pissed, okay? Because she thought the filming was over. She gonna do what she needs to do after filming, and then she could just show up next season, you know, refreshed, and the swelling will be down and stuff. So I know when they called her in, she was like, damn, now I gotta go in all puffy. But I will say this, I am not against getting anything touched, like I always said, like I always will say. But Sheree, just chill out for a little bit, okay? Let's see how things settle, okay? And then we could see where it goes. Okay, baby? Okay, baby. So let's get into this episode, y'all. If it is your first time here, welcome. And if you are returning, welcome back. You already know the vibes. Hit like, comment, and subscribe so that I know that you are here. Let's get started. All right, so they start off the episode by showing us like what the ladies are doing for Thanksgiving. So Candy is doing like a give back food drive type thing. And Brooklyn meets Kenya's dad for the first time. And Kenya also mentions that Brooklyn barely sees her own daddy. So she's happy that now she can at least meet her daddy, which is Brooklyn's grandfather. And I'm like, Mark got a lot of fucking nerve, okay? Because you barely see Brooklyn. This is not the first time that we've been made aware that Mark really don't be seeing Brooklyn like that, okay? So the fact that he's now dragging Kenya to court over Brooklyn about little petty stuff when you don't even really see her like that. I remember in a couple reviews ago, I said, oh, Kenya, I know you got those embryos. Just use your embryos, okay? I know it was expensive. Probably it was a long process. Girl, at this point, F them embryos, okay? Throw them okay, I'm not gonna tell you to throw your embryos away. But yeah, one is enough with him. One is enough with him. So we find out that Ralph is hosting a little brunch for the ladies. He says that the ladies are always in a bunch of drama. So he wants everyone to come together, break bread, and hash out whatever issues that they have. I'm like, okay, Ralph, so you say. What I really think it is that Ralph already at this point knew that this would probably be his last season on the show, because he probably already knew that he wasn't really going to be with Drew like that anymore. So he's like, let me get as much camera time as I can. Let me soak it up while I'm here. I really don't think Ralph gives a damn about what the girls got going on. He just needed some extra camera time. So everyone starts showing up. All the ladies are bringing their significant others. Kenya's boo Roy did not show up. And Sheree has the nerve to try to shade Kenya in her confessional, talking about, oh,
Kenya said she got a man. Kenya said she got a man, but ain't nobody seen him.
Where he at? Where was Tyrone at when he left your ass outside waiting for him in the cold for hours? Like that? Like how you ain't seen him? Like that? Tyrone left you for dead last season, and you want to talk about what Kenya got going on when your man left you for dead, girl. And you said all of that just for when someone asked you about your man, Martell. All you could respond with was, oh, he's sick. Girl, Martell wasn't sick. You probably didn't send him that cash app for this appearance. And he was like, yeah, no, I'm not coming, okay? That's what it was. So Marlo shows up with Scott Lee, you know, her date, her Jamaican chef boo or whatever. And Kenya's like, oh, what is he wearing? What is he wearing? I didn't like his sweater at all. I wouldn't have like looked at it and like, oh, that's so ugly. But after Kenya pointed it out, I was like, yeah, that sweater is kind of ugly. It is. So it turns out that Candy knows Scott Lee. Child, Candy know everybody, man. Candy probably know my man, real talk. So they start discussing Todd and Candy's movie, The Past. And Candy makes a little joke and she's like, I didn't get my offer to join the cast. And Candy lets her know that they actually casted Drew in the role. And Kenya's like, Drew? But when Kenya made that comment, like, I didn't take it as Kenya being serious. Like, I don't think that Kenya was really expecting to be casted in the movie. Like, I thought she was just playing around like, oh, girl, you're not gonna put me in the movie. Like, I really didn't think that Kenya was being dead ass serious. But in Drew's confessional, honey, she shades Kenya and she's like, wasn't Twa like filmed like 20 years ago? Girl, hang it up, flat screen. Your acting career is over. You're done. She didn't say all of that, but she did say like, girl, give it up. Twa was 20 years ago, right? And I was like, okay, Drew, that was shady as hell. That was not nice, but it's all fair because just last episode, Kenya did shade Drew about her little roller rink video shoot. So fair is fair. Fair is fair. Then, child, Roy calls Kenya on FaceTime. And Marlo's like, is that Roy? I went on a date with him before. Is that Roy? And I was like, oh boy, here we go. So Kenya claims that she can't hear him. She's like, oh, it's noisy. Let me go somewhere else where it's more quiet. So Kenya leaves the table to continue her conversation with Roy. So Marlo just starts talking more about it. And she's like, yeah, I went on a date with him before. He was in my DM. She hands her phone over to somebody to find a DM for her because grandma can't find the DM, right? So the DM to me looks like Marlo had like posted something in her stories. You know, one of those things where you can do a poll in your stories and people can respond, oh, this one's better, that one's better. So apparently Roy had responded to her story and was like, oh, wear this dress, Miss Marlo. So that is the DM that they're referring to. I still think that y'all and the girls on Potomac, y'all need to understand what it is like hopping in someone's DMs versus just responding to their story. There's a bit of a difference there, but we don't got to get into that. So Kenya comes back to the table after her call. And of course, because I guess they didn't get enough out of her with that comment, they had to reiterate it and make sure that Kenya heard her like, Kenya, Marlo said that she went on a date with Roy. And I honestly think that Kenya's intention was to pay it dust, was to ignore it. That's why she got up and left the table. Like, she wasn't even going to do all of that with Marlo. But because they brought it back up after she sat down, I feel like that's when Kenya started to get petty. She was like, okay, let's do this. I tried to spare you, but your little minion want to keep bringing it up. Okay, so now I'm going to just be petty with it because clearly that's what you want. That's what you want. So Kenya's like, well, I'm happy that he dated you. So now he know what not to do. Now he know what he don't want. Like, Kenya started going in and I was like, Kenya, don't fall for the bait. Don't take the bait, sis. Don't do it. I will say, though, in this scene, I was surprised that Marlo didn't go in because that would have been a perfect opportunity for her to get her licks in with Kenya. They would have just been at the table going back and forth, shading each other. But Marlo, she didn't do much. And I was like, okay, good job, Marlo. Sis must have met with her life coach that morning, okay? Because she did not take it there. I was proud of her. Sheree finds it funny that Kenya is trying to downplay Roy's DMs to Marlo when not too long ago, Kenya was making a big deal about Martel's DMs to her, right? And I'm going to keep it real. Sheree is right. Sheree does have a point. Kenya is trying to be like, oh, girl, it's whatever. But when it was Martel, she took it there. So everyone's eating or whatever. And then Sheree very unnaturally asked Drew if the chef is going to get paid. Like,
oh, girl, like, are y'all going to pay this chef? Are y'all going to pay this chef? Because I seen on the blogs that there's another chef that y'all hired, but y'all didn't pay her.
Like, Sheree, you are the last on the planet that should be talking about paying somebody. This is rich of you, sis, because your nickname is Sheree Don't Pay. Like, everybody knows that allegedly you don't be paying people, girl. So why are you even bringing this up? The audacity. So Drew explains the situation and she's like, look, this is just someone who's suing us for $1,000. She claims that we owe her money, but we don't owe her anything. And that's what it is. It's in litigation right now, right? So we'll hear more about that later, I'm assuming. So then Courtney and Kenya have a little banter about crisis management. I forgot how it came up, but they're going back and forth about crisis management because we know Courtney is a crisis manager, right? That's what she says she is, right? And Kenya's like, well, I don't know how good you are at that because you didn't really handle your crisis with Candy too well. And Courtney's like, oh, well, you would know all about that. So they're having a really nice, nasty, passive-aggressive conversation. Like, let's not act like we don't know what that is. It's pretty much the same. Remember Sheree and Marlo? Like that's what it was giving. It was one of those like, oh girl, like, you know, oh girl, we're not cool. Like, we know that we're not cool. We know what that is. Let's not play dumb. We know exactly what's happening here. Courtney was doing a lot of touching, like, oh girl. And Kenya tells her, please don't touch me. Like, I know that you're touchy-feely, but don't touch me. We're not there yet. Period. Like, I'm the same way. Don't try to get cute with me. Okay? Because I could get cute too. I could get real cute. Okay? I don't even like what you're saying to me, much less for you touching my body. Don't do it. Okay? Kenya had every right to tell that lady not to touch her. So it's time for the trip to Portugal. The ladies are arriving to the airport and Sandy's like, oh girl, did y'all hear the drama? And they're like, what drama? And she's like, oh, Candy's not feeling well. She has like a stomach bug. She's not feeling well. I'm like, girl, that is not... Sandy, you so damn thirsty. That is not drama, girl. Candy's stomach hurt, okay? And she gonna be on the plane for the next couple hours, locked up in the bathroom, coming out from both ends, okay? But that's not drama, Sanya. Come on now. So they arrive and the ladies are on the Sprinter and Kenya tells Sheree like, okay, Sheree, you got to tell us like what's going on for the trip. And I'm like, Kenya, girl, don't tell nobody what to do on their trip, okay? Because you already hold the title of the worst host in Real Housewives of Atlanta trip history, okay? So don't tell nobody what to do. Just sit and eat your food and enjoy the trip, okay? So Sheree says that she wants the trip to be all about good vibes and healing and blah, 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 blah. Okay, whatever, sis. So they arrive to the hotel and they're greeted by drinks. Did y'all catch how Marlo was telling Candy, like, oh, you should drink this one. You should have this drink. Marlo is so weird to me. She does that a lot. She does that especially with Kenya, like when Kenya would allow her back in, right? Marlo will beef with you. She will say the nastiest shit to you. And then in 2 days, she's talking to you like nothing happened. Like y'all are cool, like y'all are friends. Girl, don't talk to me. Don't recommend no drink for me. Don't speak to me, okay? Because as angry as you claim that you were about Candy not sending you flowers or not doing whatever for the funeral, you shouldn't be recommending anything to her. You should still be upset. If it was really as serious as you claim it was, you shouldn't be recommending nothing. Kool-Aid, orange juice, not a damn thing. Because you're just that upset, right? Marlo's full of shit. So we see the ladies are getting settled in. Kenya is calling the nanny. So we see that she left Brooklyn home for this trip, okay? So Brooklyn is home, safe and sound, okay, Mark? Yeah. So the ladies get together to get something to eat. And Monietta is on the phone with her husband. And Drew tells Monietta to tell her husband, like, oh, check on Ralph for me because he's on vacation in, well, not vacation. She said he's in Las Vegas on business. What does Ralph do? I feel like I asked that in a couple reviews. What does he do? Where is your scooter? Like, what does Ralph do? Somebody please tell me. And then Kenya asked Drew, she's like, oh, Ralph is in Vegas? You're not worried about him being in Vegas? That was Kenya's way of saying, we all know Ralph ain't shit. So, like, you trust him in Vegas? Drew lets the ladies know that Ralph might be auditioning for something called Chocolate City. It's like the black version of Magic Mike. And I was like, ew, why? I just can't stand Ralph. I know some of y'all think he's so fine. I just can't. I don't like him. I just don't. I'm sorry. But we see in Drew's confessional, she says that she does worry when Ralph goes out of town. And I'm like, okay, so they starting to ease in those cracks in that relationship, right? Because episode 1, they were the best that they've ever been. They were in the best place that they've ever been in. But now we see she worries when he goes out of town. Yeah, and you should, okay? So the ladies are done eating and Sanya's like, okay, let's hit the streets to see who's really worldwide. Like, that was funny. Sanya, shut your ass up.
Shut chef.
So the rooms are beautiful, okay? Sheree did her thing with the hotel. The rooms are gorgeous. And I'm happy that everyone just got their room. Like, then nobody had to twerk or jump in a pool. Just give me my damn key so I could get my room, get my things together, and lay down, okay? So we see everyone in their rooms. Monyetta and Drew are chatting, and Drew tells Monyetta that she's never been to Africa. She's been to South Africa, but she's never been to Africa. Now, granted, South Africa is very different from other parts of Africa, but Drew, you have been to the continent of Africa, just in case you weren't aware. You have, okay? Drew also tells Monyetta that she didn't like that Sheree was being shady at the brunch by asking if the chef would be paid and bringing up that whole lawsuit that they have going on. And Drew's like, we're supposed to be building a friendship. I don't like that you brought that up in front of everybody. If you really cared, you could have called me, right? You could have reached out to me personally, but you did it at the table, wasn't feeling it. And Drew said that Sheree is the last person that should be bringing up non-payment. And I'm like, sis, I said, that's what we all saying. Like, Sheree, you need to shut up when it comes to not paying people. That's something, if you hear some tea on that, that is, you give it to Sonya to give to the group, okay? You shh, don't say nothing about it, okay? Because you look crazy as hell. So we see Candy and Kenya chatting, and Kenya claims that Roy already told her that he had reached out to Marlo in the DMs. I don't believe you, Kenya. I don't believe you, Kenya. Are y'all buying it? I don't buy it, because I know that had Kenya knew that, she would have said that at the table. When Marlo gave her that tea, Kenya received that information as brand new information. Like, that's the first time she heard about it. Because why wouldn't Kenya just be like, oh, girl, I know. Yeah, he responded to one of your stories. Yeah. You hype about that? Aw, that made you feel good inside? Aw. Like, Kenya didn't know about it. She did not. I don't believe her. And then while talking to Candy, you know, Kenya got to shade Marlo some more. And she's like, Roy don't pay for it. So that wouldn't have even worked. And clearly it wasn't a big deal because there was no second date and blah, 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 blah. Meanwhile, Sanya and Marlo are discussing the same thing, right? Roy and Marlo dating in the past. Well, it was one date that they went on. And Sanya brings up the same thing that Sheree said about Kenya. And like I said before, Sheree is right about that. Kenya is not keeping the same energy. She's just not. But when it comes to Sanya, shut up, Sanya. Let Sheree be the one to put her foot on Kenya's neck when it comes to this DM business. You shouldn't be the one to do that, especially now after Kenya just helped you at your fundraiser to raise $78,000, right? She hosted your event last minute. I think that it would be smart of you to be like, I'm not going to do too much on Kenya right now because homegirl did come through in the clutch for me and help me with something that I really needed, right? Like, right? Like, not saying that she can't call Kenya out for it, but just not too much. Let Sheree handle her own beef on this one. Plus, it turns out that Kenya didn't even only give $5,000. She gave $7,500 because she gave personally, and then she also donated from her business, Kenya Moore Hair Care. And it's not lost on me that Sanya, like, we've been saying this. It's one thing to be neutral and you can kiki with this person and that person, but you still know how to stand your ground. Because if I was Sanya, right, and Sheree is talking about Kenya, I would be like, girl, you know how I feel about it, but sis just came through for me, so I'm going to keep it cute. Sanya can't even do that. Sanya can't even do that because she is so far up Sheree and Marlo's ass that she just can't say anything that they won't like. Get Sanya off me bomba clat screen. I'm sick of Sanya. Plus, at the Gucci brunch, girl, didn't you just say that you wanted to build a relationship with Kenya? Isn't that what you were telling her? But every chance that you get, you talking shit about her with Marlo and Sheree. Listen, when Kenya presses you about this, stand in your shit. Don't backpedal and be like,
oh, no, I was just agreeing with what Marlo said. Oh, no, that's not.
Girl, don't. You better stand on it. And next time that you need Kenya to host an event, you better go through her damn agent. During this convo between Marlo and Sanya, Marlo did ask Sanya, like, wait, what was the comment that she made about there not being a second date and how that means that Roy knew what not to do? And then Sanya refreshed Marlo's memory. And Marlo's like, well, then I guess all them men that she dated were an example of what not to do, right? Because they ain't with her now. And production was so messy. They showed Kenya with all of her men over the past seasons of the show. I said, that was a good one, Marlo. That was funny. So now the ladies are on the Sprinter going to dinner. I loved Marlo's dress on her. It was like a neon green type color. It looked so pretty on her skin tone. Loved that dress. So the ladies arrive at the restaurant. They're ordering their food or whatever. They're winking at each other, seeing who could wink from one eye. or the other eye. And Courtney starts with a mess. So Courtney brings up to Kenya that Sheree told her what she said about her. And we see in the footage, Kenya telling Sheree that she feels like Courtney doesn't open up with her when she tries to like engage with her. And then Courtney also says that she doesn't like that Kenya told her not to touch her. Girl, what? Excuse me? And Kenya says, yeah, I told you to stop touching me because the touching became condescending. And it did. And it did. It's like when someone calls you boo or sweetie, like, okay, boo. Okay, sweetie. Okay, sis. Oh, like, come on now. Let's not play this game. Come on now. And Courtney says that Kenya gives mean girl energy. And I'm like, how are you mad at someone for telling you not to touch them? Do you hear yourself? You sound crazy. And in all honesty, Kenya don't need a reason, right? Kenya doesn't need to explain to you why she doesn't want you to touch her. She doesn't have to give you an explanation. She doesn't have to make sure you understand. She doesn't have to make sure she's not hurting your feelings. Just don't touch her. It's very simple. And for Courtney to bring that up, like that's an issue, like you can't tell me not to touch you. Like, Courtney, you sound crazy. You sound stupid. Just shut up and eat your food, okay? So Kenya thanks Drew for actually speaking up for her, because at the brunch when Courtney did say that, Drew said it's just a boundary of hers, so you just have to respect that boundary. And I will say this, Drew is growing on me. Drew is growing on me. Okay, she's growing on me. She's growing on me. She is. I liked her in this episode. I did. So now we get to this part where Sheree, something's wrong with Sheree. Something's wrong with Sheree. Maybe that's why her and Marlo get along so well, because they both don't really have it all, right? Okay, so Drew confronts Sheree about the comment that she made about the chef not being paid, right, at the dinner. Drew lets her know she doesn't like that because she's speaking about her family and she's speaking about a lawsuit that is serious and that is ongoing. But we know Sheree don't listen to understand. She listens to respond, right? So before Drew can even get everything out, Sheree's like she's trying to jump in, right, and interrupt her. And Drew's like, well, can I finish what I'm saying, please? Because we know how Sheree gets down, right? Sheree gonna keep something in the chamber so that when you hold her feet to the fire, she's locked and loaded and she's ready to bring up your shit so she could what? Deflect, okay? Sheree is the queen of deflection. We know this. So when Drew finally gets to get everything out, Sheree's like, well, you talk bad about my business. You shaded my business and you said that we took back She by Sheree. We took back all of the She by Sheree items after the reunion. And Drew's like, yeah, that's what happened. And Drew's like, but wait, didn't we talk about this already? We discussed this. I apologize. Like, we were on the same page about this. Like, why are you bringing this back up now? And Drew says that, like, after the reunion, yes, all of our stuff was taken. And then Candy chimes in and she corroborated that. And so did Kenya. And even in the confessional, Sanya says that she didn't get anything. And Sheree says with a straight face, well, if someone took the items back, that's on you. That's not on me. Girl, ain't this your business? Don't you run this shit? Aren't you the boss, big boss? Don't you have the final say on what goes on? How is it on them that someone took back your merchandise? From Candy Burris, Kenya Moore, Sonia Ross, Drew Sidora. Wouldn't you want these women to have as much She by Sheree as possible so that they can wear it and model it and show it on their platforms? Like, Sheree, are you not, what's not clicking? Hell, even Beyonce, when she drops some clothes, even Beyonce sends the clothes out to celebrities to wear so they can be seen in it, so that they can promote it, so that they can advertise it. Like, so you too good to do that too, Sheree? Instead of being a business woman, taking ownership and saying, look, I'm sorry, we should have made sure that you guys all got enough merchandise to wear and be happy with. She says, if someone took it back, that's on you. That's not my problem. Girl, we already know that She by Sheree is just a money grab for Sheree. Like, it's not something that she cares about. It's not something that she's passionate about. That's why we care about it more than she do. Just hang it up. Did y'all see Marlo in her confessional with all her She by Sheree looking like she just came from the damn flea market? I understand her trying to be a supportive friend, but she looked crazy and she knows she looked crazy. Like, she didn't even try to put the hat all the way on so she looked cute. She looked like a damn clown, okay? And what's crazy to me is that even when the other ladies backed Drew up and said, yes, they took some items back. Yes, they told us that we couldn't have this, we couldn't have that. Sheree still continued to call Drew a liar. The fact that Sheree can never admit when she's wrong, that shit is weird. That shit is so weird. Like, Sheree, you're clearly in the wrong. Probably the real reason why they took the items back is because Sheree just didn't order enough items. She didn't order enough pieces from Shein. So she needed to take those back so she could put those on the website to sell. Sheree's a clown. So they pretty much finish the discussion. Nothing gets resolved. Nothing gets solved. And then we see Drew get up and she's crying and she leaves the restaurant. In all honesty, although I do feel that Drew was upset about the conversation that she just had with Sheree, because I didn't think that she was coming from a bad place. She really wanted to sort things out with Sheree. And like Kenya said, I do agree and believe that Drew has a lot of respect for Sheree. And Sheree saying, well, we're not friends, like we're growing a friendship. I think that did hurt Drew. But I think on top of that, it was also Drew being in yet another conversation with someone who is just being dismissive of her feelings. Because I think that she deals with a lot of that from Ralph, from her husband, right? So just being in and I could be completely wrong. It could be 1,000,000% about Sheree and Sheree only. But to me, it was more of like a frustration and a sadness and just like, she just had to get up and leave. I don't think it was only about Sheree. I think it was a multitude of things, and that situation in itself just kind of like boiled over for her, and she just had to get up and leave. But like I said before, I loved this episode. It was really good. It kept me glued to my screen. Let me know what y'all thought about the episode below. Again, don't forget to hit like, comment, and subscribe. You already know the vibe, and I will see y'all in my next video. Bye.